Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Aerials podcast, now with the Digit Network. Thanks so much for tuning in. I cannot believe this, but this is season 5. So thanks to you. This is a thriving podcast, reaching the corners of the world, all the women out there, and I'm so excited and proud to be with you. All right, super excited because I am launching a new podcast with my 2 co-hosts, Noah Dock and Amanda Ritchie. And we are going to be on this feed on Thursdays. It is called The Artist Entrepreneur. We are 3 aerialists and dancers navigating our businesses. And if you'd like to check that out, just check out your inbox on Thursdays. Also in partnership with Sweet Retreats, I'm so excited to be hosting an intermediate aerial dance retreat June 21st through the 28th. Still have some spots available. Please check out the show notes for that. Roll it out every Tuesday and Thursday. Of course, my comprehensive course for those who want to train on their own or you have spotty access to instructors. It's beginner to intermediate, fully online. And then, of course, aerial rehab, postpartum, post-injury, meant to be the bridge between PT and your favorite aerial class. Of course, I'm teaching all over the place this year, Texas, heading back to LA, Ohio, and of course, Oaxaca in June. Let's get started.
Yes, Aisling Ní Cheallaigh.
Aisling. So just let me know if I start butchering your name. I was laughing this morning because with this podcast, I'm so on top of things, but for some reason, with the 2 or 3 times that we've interacted, I'm like a complete hot mess. It just happened to be the weeks that we've been trying to schedule, we got sick, I got sick, then she got sick, and then I'm in Texas, and we're having our, quotes, deep freeze right now, because it never goes below 30. So the school's closed, everything. And so the last couple things, Aisling's are we on for today? I was like, oh my God, I'm terrible. I'm so sorry. Anyways, no, normally very much on top of it. This week, not on top of anything.
That's totally fine. Is there snow at the moment there?
Oh my God. So my East Coast friends are laughing at me because there's a couple flakes, but it's not the amount of snow. It's that there's no infrastructure to take care of it. They don't have plows here.
Yeah, we have the same in Ireland. Yeah, we don't have snow. Well, I think we have some now, but we have 3 or 4 for the country. So it's dead when it snows.
If something happens, they cannot have school. Everything shuts down because they have no way to deal with it. Did you just say Ireland?
Yes. Yeah, that's where I am.
Oh my God. Do I have anybody on this podcast from Ireland? If so, it's only one other person. You might be the only one.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've been following you for a while just because your artistry up there is just so beautiful. And then I read, I don't know, I was looking at one of your posts and you were about to go into surgery. I was like, oh my God, you have to come over on the podcast and talk about this because it's such a, it just interrupts your practice by so hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
It just interrupts everything you're doing.
Yep. A huge reset.
Huge reset. So if you would first introduce yourself, full name, where you live, a little bit about your practice, a little bit about your life. And then I would love to get into why you had to go into surgery.
Absolutely. So my name is Aisling Ní Cheallaigh. I'm an Irish aerialist, specializing in aerial hoop mostly, but I also do a bit of straps and I was a generalist when I started. And hoop was always my favorite, but I always had some kind of secondary. So I have passable skills in some other apparatuses, but nothing to write home about. I'm based on the west coast of Ireland. So I grew up in the capital in the East Coast, but I moved to the west coast 5 years ago. And I live in the middle of the countryside with 2 dogs, 2 cats. One of the cats is a new recruit. And 2 partners. So it's a full house.
I love it. Do you live in the country?
Yeah, right in the countryside.
Oh my
The
God.
closest shop, you have to drive to it. Like you could walk to it, but you'd be 25 minutes walking.
Like grocery store.
Yeah. Oh, no, not even. Just a really, really small like corner store. Grocery store is a 25-minute drive.
Oh, do you love living in the middle of nowhere?
I do love it. It's so gorgeous.
Oh my
And the
God.
sea is not that far away either. So I get to go to the beach and not like the like hot, fun tropical beach, but like the like
Like the
cold, like the
coals, yes.
Atlantic washing into the shores and crashing into the cliffs kind of beach.
Do you live where like they film like every movie from Ireland?
What was the one? They filmed a couple, there's
There's
one
like a
called
rom com. There's a rom com, and it's like all
the
right
really
there.
weird one with the bees.
Something like that.
That one? There's some terrible movies made here. But there's also there's a kind of a indie movie called The Green Knight, I think. I don't know if it was that indie. I think it had Timothée Chalamet in it, but it was like a very image-based one. But a lot of that is filmed in Sligo. There was a sort of a famous TV program that was made in Ireland, and it kind of got big outside of Ireland called Normal People.
Okay.
Because Paul Mescal, the guy who's in Gladiator 2, the lead for that, he got kind of famous from Normal People, and that's all based around Sligo if you do watch it.
Oh, this is fun. Okay. Okay, cool. So, I have so many questions. So, where do you train then?
So when I first moved here, a really good friend of mine, runs a aerial studio called Acro Air, which is here. It's in the main town, Sligo, which is like 25. It's where the grocery store is. It's about 25 minutes drive. And I actually moved into the town, so I wasn't so far away from the training space. And then 2 years ago, we moved further out into Leitrim to start an aerial residency space in an old yoga retreat, kind of like center. Like it's got like accommodation and a yoga studio. So we turned the yoga studio into a small aerial studio, and that's where I train now. And in the future, we're going for planning permission to build a really big aerial barn to hold like retreats and residencies in the future.
Oh my God. I'm going to be like, hey, I want to put a retreat up. I want to come and do a retreat in Ireland with you. Oh my God.
Definitely. We'd love that. And my partner Jenny and I run a yearly intensive together in Hoop called Spins and Spirals. And we ran it the last 2 years out of this place, but we can't use the yoga studio because it's way too small. We have to bring everyone into like 25 minutes into town. But we're really excited in 2026. We're hoping to run it again, but with the space here and everything. So we'll the both of us will be teaching on that.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm going to Mexico in June for sweet retreats.
Oh, nice. I was there a few weeks ago.
That's what I thought.
Or a few months.
What was it? Is it so different? Because it's cold in Ireland right now, right?
Oh, it's very different. So like their space is gorgeous. We would like aspire to have a space as beautiful as theirs. And then the weather is completely different. Like the weather in Ireland it doesn't get above, I'm really bad at doing Fahrenheit. It would never hit 80, for example. I think 80 is
okay. Sure.
Ever. Like it'd be like quite a bit back from that. And it's usually quite wet. It's quite a moist country. So that's why it's so green. There's like greenery everywhere.
I usually don't like the word moist, but in the way they used it was nice.
It's kind of the place you go like outdoorsy hiking, but you would never sunbathe here. You're just not enough. There just wouldn't be any sun.
Yeah, like that's not the type of trip you're doing. You know, if you go there, exactly. It's like you're doing other things. You're looking at pounding waves and
yes, and like 5,000-year-old tombs and that kind of thing.
Yes. Okay. So, and are you born and raised there in Ireland?
Yeah, born and raised on the East Coast, which is like calmer when it comes to the sea. And I was in the capital, which isn't big as cities go. It's like 1.5 million. But for Ireland, it's our bit. Like we only have 5 million in the country, so like a huge portion of that is in this one city.
Right,
that's where I grew up, and then I moved over this side of the coast 5 years ago.
Now, how much aerial is there? Like, if it wasn't for the internet, would you feel like you had resources enough, like people and ideas and all the stuff?
It's it's like we all know each other. It's very small. I assume it would be like a small state in the US that doesn't have much aerial. Like you'd probably all like know each other and be like, oh, that person's out of state. I don't recognize them. We'd send around a message and be like, do you know who this is? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Oh, they must be visiting. Or like, oh, I wonder if they knew we should like greet them or say hello. But yeah, it's really, really small, but it has a really strong foundation. We have two traditional circus traveling families. And then how many years ago now? 20 years ago, actually, a contemporary dancer who grew up in Ireland but went to study contemporary dance in London, came back to Ireland and started an aerial dance company. And a couple of years later, thanks to her efforts, she managed to get our arts council to start funding contemporary circus as its own strand instead of having to like compete with dance or like more established art forms. And that was huge. Like suddenly there was money available to like, so this is around the time I started is when this funding appeared. So I started, they also started an aerial festival, which is how I found out about aerial, and they still run it today. I've been to every single one for the last 12 years. It's called the Irish Aerial Dance Festival and it happens 2 weeks during the summer. At the moment, it's mid-July, I think.
And people from all over the world come?
Literally, like I meet people from everywhere. And sometimes you haven't seen people in like 5 or 6 years and you're like, wow, and they come from like Australia, the US, Canada, all over Europe. Finland, like literally just
this
everywhere.
Is so cool.
It's brilliant. But so when I started, it was like 25 to 30 people doing this festival rather than now it's 250 people show up for this.
Wow.
And it was like mostly local Irish and then a lot of Scottish and UK as well. I went to that festival, discovered aerial, started like amateur training and using YouTube, because this was even before Instagram, using YouTube to like work out tricks and the kind of stuff everyone's like, don't do. But when there's no coaches, like there's not much you can do.
Right.
And that aerial dance company, anytime we could, we'd like bring them in and get them to do workshops with us. But they were so busy, it was really hard. So I started traveling to Montreal because the government were making available this €1,000 pot that you could apply for. And if you got it, you could use that money to go and train somewhere and come back. So I would fly to Montreal, try and get as many privates as I could during the Complètement Cirque, and watch as many shows as I could, and then come back and just like train for the year and then apply again the following year to go back out. And so that's how I kind of it's also how I discovered, because if I'd have stayed in Ireland, I don't think I would have realized what's out there for circus. And the first time I went to Montreal was actually, it was a very big mistake on my part, but I realized very quickly. The first time I went to Montreal was to audition for ENC. Yeah. Which is the big circus school there. Having only done aerial for a year, and I had no idea I had no idea. I didn't even know there was a circus school was a thing until like a few weeks before, and I was like, oh, that's why. And it was before they vetted applications, so they were like, yeah, turn up. So I paid $50 and I turned up, and it took about 3 seconds for me to realize that I had made a huge mistake. But I wasn't the only one. There was like 3 or 4 of us who were definitely in the amateur category. And it was a 4-day audition, but they kick you out after each day. So we all got kicked out on the first day and then spent the next 3 days just training together and making the most of our time.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't sound terrible.
No, it was really, and it was amazing to see what could be achieved. Like the people auditioning were more amazing than anyone I'd ever seen before in my life, like in front of me. And they were auditioning to get into the school. Right. So I was like, okay, there's a long way we can go with this. This is cool.
Yeah, there is a long way.
That really started the bug for training. I was like, yeah, I want to try. Oh, I'd love to like even be a quarter as good as these people. Would be insane. Like no one in Ireland's ever seen shit like this. And yet, so when I came back to Ireland, I was crazy for all that stuff. And a whole kind of generation of us started training like that and like trying to get like into a level that the rest of Europe wouldn't kind of laugh at too much. And so there's like, and it's still growing, like there's more generations coming up behind and starting to like make shows and tour them outside of Ireland, which is really great. So although it's a small industry, it is really growing. And what's really nice is there's space for growth. There's funding available. Like you have about a 35 to 40% chance of getting funding every time you apply. If your application is good, like if you've really done a good job on the application, you're in with a good chance of, like, it's not like 1 in a million winning the lotto chance. Like you really do have a chance of getting stuff. And there's money available for making shows. There's money and bursaries available for just improving your own skills. So they give 20,000 euro bursary to just work on your own shit, like to like get better or go train. It's amazing. And you don't even have to be Irish, or even resident in Ireland.
No, what I was saying is like what it must be like to live in a place where there's just not a lot of people, because, you know, like I'm just used to being like, you know, if you apply for something here in the States, especially when I was in LA, it's just like, oh, good luck. There's about a bazillion people. Yeah. And how long has your practice been? Like, how many years?
This year will be 13 in the summer. So I keep saying 12, but it's like, it's coming towards 13 years from when I like first touched a hoop.
And you have a bit of a baby face. How old are you?
Thank you.
You do?
I'm 36.
Oh, like I can't tell with people. Like I literally cannot tell. My friend just turned 42. And she's a white girl too. And she looks like she's like 18. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
How? What?
Working in circus, I think, keeps you young as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it does. I also say that I'm pretty immature, so
yeah,
if I like looked old, but then I like, you know, I act like a child. Okay, so let's go into your injury and what you had posted about. What's happening with your body and what brought all this on?
So for years, from the moment I kind of started training, I started getting hip pain, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I went to physios, osteos, acupuncture. I went to a what do you call them? Orthopedic consultant early on, and the orthopedic consultant was the most useless. He was like, "Well, you are hyper flexible, so that's why." And I was like, "Is there anything I can do about that?" I could. And so I was working with physios to strengthen things, working with massage therapists to like loosen things out, but nothing really worked that well. Like it sort of managed the symptoms. And a lot of aerialists have these symptoms as well. So like, it's definitely not something that's unusual, but it's like it started with a kind of an ache around the hip joints, and then a pinching sensation in the front of the hip when I would be in things like child's pose or pigeon pose. I stopped being able to do those. And then like a clicking or like a catching sensation when I would move through a range of motion. And it was manageable for a while. And then I started to get femoral nerve pinch, which is really similar to sciatic nerve pinch, but the femoral nerve is in the front. That was not so manageable. That was, when that happened, that was really hard to get it to go down. But those kind of attacks were like 6 months apart, maybe even a year apart. So they didn't slow me down too much, but it was always something I was kind of dealing with in the background. And then during COVID, I was so lucky to have a space to train in, because we were in this rural place and we could have the space to ourselves. So my partner Jenny and I were like each other's training buddies, and we were training every single day. I was working on flexibility and kind of really pushing stuff I hadn't pushed in a while, and my hips just started to get worse. And then I also did a show, an outdoor show, which was like a dance, Irish dance, with like a lot of beating into the floor, running around and jumping on concrete. And the pain started to get worse and worse through that as well. So about like 2 years ago, I started to cut my work quite substantially, and like I had to start taking certain types of work out of my schedule. So outdoor work, basically anything in the cold would just be unbearable. So I cut outdoor work. Creation of shows where you're kind of like, you want to be a yes human when you're creating shows. Like, could you try this? You're like, yeah. I started to only take one of those a year, like 1 6 or 8 week creation period, because it's so hard on the body. And I was like, I don't think I can do this more. I started to teach a little bit more, because that's a bit softer on the body. And for a while that kind of managed it, but then the pain just started to get more and more into my daily life, like where every day just getting up off the couch was painful, or sitting down was painful, or running, like breaking into a run, and I'd be like, forgot I can't run. And so I ended up getting an MRI, which is something I hadn't done yet. And they saw little shadows on it, and they said, we think you might have torn the labrum in both hips. So I was then sent for MRIs with contrast, where they can like really, the dye will kind of reveal if there's any tears or not. And it was like confirmed there was tears in them. But people get people can have tears in their labrum and it not affect them. So it's not necessarily always what's causing the pain. They're kind of, hips are like a complex. It's nothing like, I know if you have a shoulder injury where you've torn your labrum, you're in a lot more danger for like dislocations and things. The hips aren't as shallow a socket as the shoulder, so it's not as urgent a problem. And if it's not causing pain, people tend to just be like, leave it alone, it's fine. And surgery is quite a last resort. So I saw an orthopedic surgeon, this time a better one than I'd seen like years before. And he was I really trusted him because from the start he was like, we don't want to do surgery. That's the last thing we want to do. We want you to make sure that you can continue to work. And so let's try everything else. So we tried steroid injections to see if that would help long term, which they didn't. They wore off really quickly. And then we tried PRP, which is where you take the platelets from your own blood and inject those into the hip joint. And they didn't really make much difference. And I also was doing a new physio program. And I also started like working on your nerves and your vestibular system and all that kind of thing. But none of it was really making a dent in it, which is what brought us, after like 2 years of working with the surgeon, to the final conclusion of, okay, we can try surgery. Because what caused the tears is I am hypermobile, but not crazy hypermobile. Like I don't have, can't remember the name of the syndrome, ED syndrome.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember either. Yeah.
I haven't had any problems like that. I think just kind of like you're more middle of the spectrum, kind of, or maybe even on the like not super flexible side of hypermobility.
Yeah.
But because I'm hypermobile and because of how my socket and ball is created, and because I decided to do circus as a career, those three things together meant that I had this particular hip pain or this hip problem.
Yes.
And a lot of people, I think there's been like 20% of the population is hypermobile. So it's like kind of if 20% of the population decide to do a kicking sport as a career, ballet as a career, or circus as a career, they'll probably run into this problem or this pain. And depending on how long you stick with it, it just progressively gets more painful. So I decided to go for the surgery, which basically tries to connect together the labrum that's been torn, and then like kind of shaves or neatens up the edge of it because mine was all frayed. And then they also shave the head of the
femur.
That's the one. I was like, humerus? No, that's not right. Yeah, they shave the head of the femur just to like smooth it in case there's any bumps that are catching, but not to reduce its size dramatically. And that's the surgery that I had. And I had my left hip in August this year and my right one in December, just before Christmas. And that's where I'm at the moment.
Okay, so when I saw that, because my student, who is now in her 20s, but she started with me when she was 13, and then by 18, she was in so much pain. And then still stretching, like, you're 18 years old.
You're
just stretching. Your head's back here on the back of your head. Your leg is. And it turned out that she was just ripping everything in there. And congenitally, her femurs were not fit to the size of the socket. Mm-hmm. And it was just like crunch, crunch, crunch every single time she moves. Is there a name for this? Do you know?
Yeah, it's FAI is the one that I had. So femoral acetabular impingement.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Congenital for you, right?
Yeah. Basically, I don't think I could have avoided it with this career. I think I actually...
Right, because you're born like that.
I could have avoided it potentially. My theory is that I could have maybe avoided it on the right hip. The right hip was the first to get painful, and I think it was from trying really hard to do middle splits and working it passively. And I think that's when it started to tear. On the left side, I know it's from flaring because it's the flare pattern that like you feel the clunk every time. So I think the left definitely would have happened to the left no matter what. But the right, maybe I could have rescued by being more educated on how to stretch. Because when I started, I had not a clue. Like I was just like, this is. So I was like picking up like stretching from random people, and some of it was excellent advice, and some of it maybe wasn't so great. Before the time of like Katie Breyer and Cirque Physio giving so much amazing information for free on Instagram.
So at the end of the day, your femur heads don't exactly fit in their sockets as
mostly an end range motion. Like, so they fit quite well. Some people have this problem, like just walking.
Yes.
Mine fit quite well. Walking and running is fine. It's just straddling or kicking through flares in any of the end range motions, either internal or externally rotated. That's where they just clunk up against each other congenitally.
Okay. So you get to the point where you're talking about surgery. And at this point, are you like, screw it, give me the surgery. I want this to be over. Okay.
In fact, I think I reached that point 2 years beforehand, like when I started going to the surgeon, and he really like held me back. He was like, no, we're going to try everything first, because if you do the surgery and it either makes it worse or it doesn't work, you're going to kick yourself that you didn't try everything else first. Whereas at least if everything was tried and the surgery doesn't work, you're like, well, that was the last card I had. I tried it. We're just going to have to try something else.
Okay. So like emotionally you were ready going in to it. Any prep for this, or do you just, pick a date and pray?
You could do this. So I'm a very chaotic person when it comes to like this kind of thing. I love like just running straight for things. So what you could do, and would probably be suggestible, or like suggestible best practice, would be to really work on strengthening, so that when you do get the surgery and then you're on the rest, you don't lose a huge amount of musculature.
Yes.
But I worked basically right up until the deadline in August. So I was teaching at a festival in Italy the day before, and I flew into Dublin at midnight, and at 7 a.m. the next morning, I was at the hospital for the surgery. So like, I was just like, I just gotta, and that was partly through necessity, because I've only been able to work. So from August until November, I didn't work. And then I taught 1 week retreat in Mexico with a friend helping me demonstrate. And then since then I haven't worked, and I won't work until April. So I kind of had to work all through summer to help pay for this half. And then I have this summer quite full already to pay for.
So you got the surgery, the first one. What did it feel afterwards? What did it feel like afterwards?
Kind of in this weird space where I was looking forward to like jumping into the physio and like just starting to feel improvements. And I did, which was excellent. I was like, but by the time I hit November, the hip had operated on felt so much better than the other one.
Okay.
But then the weird part is I knew that the next surgery was coming up. So I was like, I knew that it's sort of like someone like, you're like, ready, set, go. Wait, no, stop. But it was really nice to steal some moments in the air in between the two.
Yeah.
And then I've actually been finding the second one harder. I think because the hip that has had the first surgery had to kind of take all the weight once the other hip got done. And so it's actually gone backwards quite far in its recovery. And then of course the hip that just got done is also starting its recovery. So it's kind of felt like a double step, 2 steps back, basically, rather than a step forward, even though I know it is a step forward. It just doesn't feel like it right now.
Like, I would imagine that it just feels so stiff afterwards.
Yeah, like the hardest part, like the hardest thing so far is I can't sit cross-legged, and that was my favorite way to sit on chairs.
Oh, right.
And I'll go towards it. I'll be like, I'll start to pull in a leg, and I'm like, I forgot I can't do that. Because I have I'm in parallel. I'm now a parallel human for now.
Oh my God. My student who had these surgeries, she just had so much tightness afterwards. She couldn't. And she's just so used to being hypermobile. And then for her, not the same as you, I think for her, she just, she went to nursing school. She just decided to go a different way because probably a lot of reasons, but I don't think it was worth it to her to push past all that. But different for us because we're professional, like that's what we do for a living. So you don't really have a choice.
If this wasn't my career, I don't think I would have pushed to this point of pain either.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think it would have gotten this bad. And then I don't think I would have kept with it after the surgery, because it's so daunting to look at the journey and be like, oh my God, my splits are where they were when I started 12 years ago. Like they're just non-existent. And I can still touch my toes. I'm really happy. I'm like, yes, I can touch my toes, but I can't sit cross-legged, and my hip mobility is like really, I'm just going to have to work really hard on that over the next year just to regain a normal amount, like a normal safe amount. But I'm so in love with being on the hoop that I feel like limitation is the best driver for creativity. And the last 2 years, I've seen a change in my own work and what I'm becoming more interested in. I'm like, I'm slowing down. I'm more interested in balance work and like slow movement. And that, because I can do that. Like that's what my body's allowing me to do. So as I'm healing and going back, I have something to go, like I have a practice to go back to that was soft on my body and doesn't require, like the last time I performed the splits, I think was like a year and a half ago, because I knew they were making things worse, so I started taking them out.
Sure.
So at least when I go back, if I had to go back to the aerialist I was 4 or 5 years ago, I don't think I could do it. It would just, I'd feel like the journey would just be too long. Whereas I know that by the summer, I think I'll be back to where I was pre-surgery. And then my hope is that I will continue to be able to improve over the following year to a point where I'm in a better place than I was before the surgery. But it's just going to be long, basically. And my kind of word of the year was going to be patience, but I felt like that was too like, you be patient, young lady. So I've gone for surrender. I've gone for just like surrender to the process. But it's definitely, I've been learning a lot of patience this past few months, and I'm going to have to continue being patient. But because I love movement so much, and I love like expressing myself through movement, I don't think it's something I could stop doing, even though it will be a long road back. But it's a road that's worth it, because it's the thing that I love doing, and it's my career.
Yeah. Oh, I have no doubt. You're going to get there, and then you're going to be a different artist when you get to the end. But I went through my own, I think mine was a 2-year process because I broke my leg in half.
Oh,
like 2011.
And how is it now?
Oh, fine. Everything's great. I have other problems,
Yeah.
Yeah. But not like that. But yeah, it's like one of these things with people like us. You just do the things. And I do think that's what separates artists, or that separates artists who have short careers from long ones. You do the work because you want to wake up every day and do the work.
It's like breath. Like you can't. It's like having air. Like you can't just stop breathing. You can't stop moving.
Yeah.
It's not for anything. It's just, if it's for yourself. Like if you're an artist for yourself, then you'll never stop.
Yeah. And also what I've learned, because I was only a dancer before, and then I started aerial like in 2007. And what I've learned so interesting is that I've grown out of one part of my artistic practice, and it's so interesting to grow out of it, because I really don't care to do the work around dancing. And I'm not even feeling bad about it, because I did it for so long in my life. It's okay that things have a season.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly the same with a lot of apparatuses that I like let pass by, like fabric and rope, and I'm like, I love watching people on them. I'm like, they're so cool. I'm finished though. I have no desire to go back. I have enough work and enough joy in hoop, and in hopefully I do hope to get back to straps. That I don't need to. It's like a nice goodbye. You're like, oh, thank you for the journey. Goodbye.
Thank you for the journey. So, wait, I'm not saying goodbye yet. Don't worry about being. Oh, she gets so upset if I say goodbye without her. How long did it? Like, this question should have been in the beginning, but how long did it take you to figure out what was actually the problem?
10 years.
Okay.
Like from the very beginning until 2 years ago.
Now, for other artists out there who are having some pain, is there a shorter cut to figuring out that problem? Is it an X-ray?
MRI. I would recommend an MRI, but I would also recommend not panicking if it does come back with a torn labrum, unless your pain is at a level. I feel like for me, my pain was at a level where if I could never do circus again, I wouldn't have minded as long as the pain would just stop. Like it was to a daily base, like a daily level of pain that I was like, I can't function like this.
Yes.
If I have to stop circus, like I really hope I never do. But if I had to, in order to make this pain go away, I would. And that's, I think, the level that made this surgery worth it, because there isn't a guarantee. Like I might talk to you in a year or 2 years and say like, I didn't get my flexibility back, and for a lot of people that might not have been worth it. I won't know whether it's worth it for me really until I'm in that place.
Yes.
So what I would say is, if you are having pain and you want to know what the hell it is, getting an MRI is excellent. And then there are a lot of other options to try before surgery that could work, especially if you catch it earlier, so that there's not so much damage and inflammation. And one of the biggest and best things is just to stay really strong and not to forget about your legs as an aerialist. So like strength training, physio. I also found massage really did help with the symptoms, particularly like any psoas release done really gently, not the like crazy hardcore psoas release, but like the soft and gentle. But getting the MRI felt really helpful, because I thought, because it was so long not knowing what it was, I started to think maybe it was psychosomatic, and that if I could just work on like connecting with my body and like going through whatever, going to therapy, it might help. But you start to feel quite guilty then you should never feel guilty for a psychosomatic thing, but you sort of do, because you feel like all the pressure's on you to sort your stuff out so you get better. So it was quite a relief to actually see the thing that was causing me pain on a screen and be told like, we see your pain and something should be done about it. That's not right. And I was like, oh, that feels amazing to have that weight taken off me. Mm-hmm. And if I'd have done that earlier, I think I may have been able to explore other avenues that would have worked. Whereas it was so late on and there was so much damage that it did, nothing else was working.
So have you heard of a shallow socket?
Yes.
I have a shallow socket on my right side, my right hip. And it had been like a couple years where I was just like, why is it always this right hip? And so I was like, did I tear a labrum? Like all these things, all these questions. And like I could have gotten x-ray a lot earlier, but I didn't, of course, because I feel like that's just so common with us. We're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then, you just need to see what's in there. And then because it's a bone thing and not a soft tissue thing, he was like, can you see how like the socket's supposed to grab your femur around it a little bit better? Yours is like barely hanging on. And so my femur likes to just like slightly just come apart just a little bit. And so you'll like, it just looks so crazy because I start banging on my hip because I can like pound it back in myself. People are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm
just relocating my hip.
I like relocating it because it's only like a millimeter, right? So same thing, like if I do all my PT exercises and my booty is strong and it sucks it in, then I'm good. And if I don't and I start to neglect it, then like, I got this like leg that's kind of hanging off the side of my body and and I have to like put it back in. It sounds gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moral of the story, don't just do everything yourself.
Moral of the story, if your insurance covers it or you can afford it, get an MRI or figure out how to get insurance. I did a little thing where I went to a new doctor, a new GP, and said, I've had this hip pain for the first time ever, because I had just bought health insurance 6 months before. Mm-hmm. So I waited the 6 month period, went to a new GP. I was like, I've got this hip pain, very unexplained. Can you send me for an MRI? And so it got covered by my insurance because it wasn't pre-existing. I'm not saying to do that necessarily because it's probably not best practice, but it was the only way I could get insurance to cover.
I don't think it's not best practice. It's like these insurance companies do their best to just like not cover. So like, whatever. It's like no one asked. It happened 6 months ago, so
Yeah.
I'm with you,
And I
dude.
yeah. So like
I'm with you.
I would definitely try to get a scan just so you know, and then you can do with that information what you will.
I would love to come and host a retreat at your place.
No.
Oh, we'll definitely. So 2026, we will let you know. That would be amazing. We'd love to have you.
She gets mad because she thinks she's not going. Come here. Do you want to come with me?
You want to go to Ireland?
Don't go.
Listen, I didn't say anything else. Maybe you'll come with me. Maybe Papa will come too. Relax.
Don't go to our place.
Come here.
You're not going to our place.
Listen.
No, thank you.
Will you come too?
You want to say hi? You want to have the headset?
Bye.
You want it?
No.
Oh my goodness, she's grumpy. She's grumpy.
I mean, if I just run into a wall.
I know, you might be grumpy too. But okay, so we're thinking of you, good vibes, and then, maybe we'll do a check-in at some point and see how you're feeling.
That would be great. Thank you.
My listeners, if you would honor me with a 5-star rating and a review, I would appreciate it forever. It is the hardest thing about being a podcaster is to get your podcast out to the people who want to listen. So the best way to do that is to have a good star rating and just ride that algorithm. So I really appreciate if you guys would just open the Apple app and leave me a review. It makes such a difference. I appreciate you. I also have Greener Grass with Digident Podcasts with my friend Kelly McVeigh. If you want to hear my voice twice a week, it's there for you. It's light, it's heartfelt, and we bring on some really amazing guests. All right, my friends, over and out. This is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is The Expecting Aerialist.